not that. It is just what they wanted to do. So the reforms were as according to that. But after independence, the reforms, they wanted to have the independent thinking and all that. So lot of work was done, but how it was done and achieved will come. So what was the reason for education reforms? The purpose of education reforms is to transform school structures with the aim of raising the quality of education in a country. Educational reforms deserve a holistic examination of their education system. Of the objectives, application, and results generated by those within the school system where they are implemented. Though we are talking of higher education, but higher education can only happen when we have the lower education and sound footing. It has to have a solid foundation. Then only higher education can build upon that. So it is the school education requires first to be put on a solid footing, and then on that we can develop the higher education. What is the main goal of Educational Reform Act? The main goal of New Rights Core aim for education was to improve standards through marketization, which is in turn required giving parents more choice over where their children went to school. This is the thinking of the present India, the independent India, that the parents should also get involved in the thought process, and what is best for the children is known to the parents first. Then, of course, in the school, the teachers, and also there is now the career counseling, and so many people are there, psychologists are there, they understand what is the actually the interest of the child. So their interest is being seen, and accordingly that is moved. How can education sector be improved? There are various ways to improve. I have jotted down about 5 ways. Acknowledge and address overcrowding. We have to understand that in country like ours, there is going to be overcrowding in the school. We cannot say, if we want to one hand that 100% children should be educated, or they know they should be they sent to school, then there will be overcrowding initially. So how to overcome that, that is a different issue. Then make funding schools a priority. Each school, now their schools are not getting enough fund to run themselves. Address the school to prison pipeline. Raise standards for teachers. Put classroom running and curriculum building decisions in the hands of the community. Now, what will be happening in this classroom? A teacher wants to take the class indoor or outdoor. And how she or he wants to teach, it should be left. It is not the teach, it is how the students want to learn. So the learning and teaching should go hand in hand. Rather, it should be a more learning exercise than a teaching exercise. How can we improve higher education in India? Instead of dogmatic, transform the curriculum into something dynamic. It is said that the curriculum is like that, but if it is not dynamic, it is not changing with the change in the system. What I was being taught, if my child is being taught the same thing or in the same way, and my grandchild is being taught in the same way, they will never like. There is a change in the requirement of teaching. Give teachers their due by paying them. Now, teaching job has been given certain respect, and they have been paid earlier. Long time back, this was not happening. So it should be given more. That was the convention was there, that they should be adequately compensated for their work. They should not think to earn differently than teaching. They should be concentrating on teaching. Convert private institute into profit-making ones rather than non-profit. This is though a ambiguity. There is a lot of debate, discussion that whether a private institute should make profit or not. I believe that nobody works unless he knows that he has got whatever he has put, he should get a return. He should not multiply overnight, but he should get a return. If you can get return in the fixed deposit, you should get at least the same, if not more, by putting it in a business. That is the type of thinking should be there, I feel. How can we improve education system in India? The thing I feel is skill-based learning. It should be the first thing. If I have got an aptitude or attitude for a type of thinking, and I am put something like a round peg put in a square hole, it will not fit in, or vice versa. It has to be properly designed, and it should be designed individually. We are not robots. We are human beings. So it is not we are just designing robot. We are designing the human being, and skill-based. Whoever is having that skill, and a person who is teaching, they should also have similar type of skill to teach. It is not that anybody can go to the class and start taking the class. Unless he or she has got the specialization, there is no point in sending them. If somebody is a good footballer, the skill in football is completely different than the skill in cricket. It is known. So we cannot just do that way. We have to put skill-based learning and skill-based teaching. Rural education. Maximum about 65 to 70% of our people stay in rural areas. And therefore, the rural education is very much important if you want to take the country as a whole up. Gender neutral education, very much required. It must be. You see, whoever has made that, I didn't want to touch now, but there are information, or there is history says that the persons who have thought of the education, free education for a girl child as back as 1920. And that was the type of thing, and first 5 years of education should be completely free. That now which is being implemented by the government of India or the state governments has been taught in 1920, not by the British governments, by the opposition leader. And that was the type of thinking was there, and that didn't take shape. Today it is still taking shape. Then teachers training. It is most important. You can't say that somebody has become graduate or somebody has got a B.Ed or B.Ped and straight away they can be put as a teacher. They should be groomed to teach. It is not the theory, it is the practice. So there should be something like a teacher's training is required, and it should be a dynamic. It should continue to be given at intervals. Then infrastructure of course is required to train, and subsidizing professional courses. Now, if suppose somebody wants to do a course abroad, it is a hell of a money thing, and people are not being able to do. So it is the duty of the government to subsidize and select people to go abroad. In LNIP, we tried, and we are successful in sponsoring our candidate for foreign courses. It is not for just a stamp, but we want to know how this is being dealt by other countries. Every country has got a way of doing, and we must learn. Good points must be taken home. And if there is some point which is bad, we will have to just shed it aside. Then basic computing in rural areas. Now, the most important is that we can do online. What we are talking is online. I will come back to that COVID-19 thing. What is the problem in the rural areas? Because they don't have the facility of this in rural areas. And last point which I wanted to make was make sports compulsory. It has to be made compulsory. Physical education and sports is a compulsory subject, should be, and for which as the Vice Chancellor myself during that time, we have worked hard. That can be a separate session. I can tell that what type of work had been done that time, but we didn't get 100% success. But I am very happy that in 2020, some portion, it is only a fraction of the portion of our vision is coming, but it is not the one which we wanted. So that is a requirement. Now we come to the next slide, please. You see, I will just touch upon, before I go to the other thing, I will touch upon the COVID-19 because list I forget or it is sidetracked. So in respect of what is the effect of COVID-19 in respect of health in general and education in particular. So this I feel, I have just thought of myself, there are so many points can be added in it, and so many points in which is not equally important in all other countries also. But in India, these are quite important. Firstly, till date, no vaccine has been developed as yet, and treatment for COVID-19 is not very much streamlined. So this is a very big health problem till now. Problem multiplied for other medical treatment as well. I may not having COVID-19, but because my old age or even otherwise, many people are waiting for surgery. Many people are waiting for certain other treatment to be done, including even people have to plan now whether they should have a baby. If they should have a baby means that thing, they are already in problem, because if suppose they land up in a hospital and it has got some COVID problem, then they will come back with some COVID-19 problem. So there are so many problems with the other medical treatment are also getting affected because of this. Lockdown has reduced our physical activities. It is no doubt. Earlier we used to have much more physical activity. Lockdown has forced us to be in house. Restriction on free movement. It is not free movement is if I wish to go of my own, I will not be able to go. When the lockdown is there, I must follow the state order. And if I don't follow, I may be punished. And why should not I follow? I should have to follow. So free movement has been curtailed. Then effect of social distancing. It is a very big thing in India. Though we have a very good system, we don't shake hand, but we tell namaste. And that system has been taken by the world over. Everybody now is doing that. But if otherwise, we have a feeling of giving respect to the elder person by touching feet, and the elder person embraces and as the child or whoever gives that love and affection. But distancing has stopped that. So there is I feel there is a curtailment in flow of feelings by distancing. The flow of feelings has been curtailed. Effect on children education. The biggest blow has happened because children's education used to go to school not only for education. They used to go to interact with their friends. They used to go to school for various other things other than even studies. So now that has been stopped. So they are worried when the young children, they don't know why they have been not allowed. Earlier, when they didn't want to go to school, parents forced. Now they want to go to school, parents are not sending. So it is a very difficult for them to psychologically, isko hajam karne ke liye it is difficult. So this is a very big problem. Psychological problem is coming in children education, and how we can overcome the children education part that I am covering, or you all know. So that is a different, but it is a psychological part I am talking of. No recreational sports. It is another great thing. Competitive sports have got stopped practically, but still competitive sports can be organized. But recreational sports is such thing which gives a recreation to mind, body and soul and everything, that has got stopped. Effect on children's psychology. All this has affected the children's psychology. Increased unemployment. It is a great blow because all other things remaining the same. The curtailment in the number of employee or the certain middle or small level industries shutting down. Many other places there is a shutdown, and therefore there is unemployment has increased. No fresh employment, of course. And post COVID-19, there is a great threat of a financial crisis we are going to face. There, everybody has already predicted, or even it can be seen. We can see that there is going to be a financial crisis in every country. Most of the countries will suffer, and also India will suffer. Next slide. Now, though we cannot say these are the benefits of COVID-19, but I can see there are certain things happening. So that is, we can say that it is also thinking, positive thinking. By COVID-19, we are all thinking negatively. But COVID-19 has given us also certain positive thinking or a scope to think positively. So what is that? I feel that the social benefits are there. For example, the showing kindness and stood together. The family, if you are in a group, the friends, they have given help to others. Somebody is suffering, though the other thing is also available, that the COVID-19 patient has been blamed, or some thing has been, they have been segregated. But many of the places, the people have gone to help in whole soul. They have been, their food part, their medicine, their taking care, everything is being taken care of. And this kindness and togetherness in the society has increased. And people feel that if I don't come to help at this stage, when I will come? And what is my role? My role as a human being is to help others. That feeling has come. People have given charity and donations. A lot of charity and donations have come, not only in money, but if I don't have money, I have given my service. And there you see the PM's fund. So much of money in the PM's fund got generated overnight. And these things we have seen during war. I am being an army person, we have seen that when there is a war, the country combines. The ladies donate their ornaments. So many children have given their tiffin money. They have given so many things, and the whole nation comes together. But this type of thing has again come, this COVID-19, which has also created this type of donation and charity platform. The doctors, the policemen, the sweepers, the NGOs, their volunteers are working together, even risking their own life. Why this has happened? This has happened, people have now thought, people have got that feeling that I am not living for myself alone, I must live for others. So these type of feelings are coming in the mind of the people, and whole country working together. Now, whenever the thing comes, we say that India, as a whole country will work together. It is not the thing, but though there are some states, there are center, there will be some skirmishes, there will be some problem. But when the question comes, as a country, it is work together. We always say that the vaccine or the medicine should be developed in India first, and we should be the people helping the world. We should be able to give to the world this online education system. This is a point which is actually pertinent to us. The online education system, I feel, has been developed so much. It was not there earlier, or it was there in a very small scale. In some of the distance education system, they were doing it partially. They didn't have so many platforms. Now, number of platforms have been created by the organizations, have taken these platforms, and they are trying to give online education. The advantages are the children are kept busy. The teachers have got accustomed to this new mode. It is a very difficult thing to come back to this mode who were not knowing that. So it is education by itself. So one is that. Secondly, I personally feel this has done a lot of good things also. For example, today we are doing it only for pandemic stage. And though there is no alternative to education in classroom, where you can see, you can feel, you can see the your teaching is whether perfect, or if you want any improvement, all those things you can feel by seeing the student. And teacher-student relationship is most important. But here also, if this classroom is a small classroom and you have number of persons together, you can easily, you are having video, audio, and you can interact. But what is the advantage of this more is that it is that child's time to going to school and coming is saved, one thing. The risk and the problems of commuting is solved. Secondly, the inclement weather. If there is a rain, or in small towns, or even in places where you see because of fog or temperature, very cold temperature, like in Bihar, in say Patna or Gaya or some other places, they have closure due to cold wind blowing in the month of January for 1 month, 20 days, 25 days, or rainy season. So all these things, even alternate mode of teaching by the schools can be adopted. If there is a rain or there is a closure because of cold wave or something, the teaching can be done online. So it is an alternative way. In army, always it is said that you have option already ready. Your main thing is there, but your next option should be ready so that you can just change it to it. And it should be done in education also. We should have an alternative system by which the loss of number of days or periods are avoided. Yes, I agree. This cannot be done for every system. For example, you cannot have a physical education. You require ground to practice, to develop skill, and you have to go to ground. And similarly, it is required for science subjects to go to the laboratory, and many other things like medical students, like engineering students, they have to go and practice on the ground there. So that is required. But I'm telling, this is an alternative, and it may not be for all day. Say it may happen in, say, in school now there is a 6 days a week. It can be made 3 days a week or 4 days a week, and 2 days can be from home. So it will also solve many other problems. Then it is cleaner environment. It is no doubt now, because stoppage of so many vehicles moving, this, that, so environment has got cleared, and it has been seen, it has been observed that our world has become better living. Cities which were getting polluted, there was so much of problems, pollution has come less. Even in the, it has been seen that our atmosphere has become much, much cleaner, and the it is worth better. We are really living a better world to our youngsters. So it is a cleaner environment will be there with this start, this COVID-19, this benefit has been given. So how we can maintain that, at least some portion. That's why I was telling that work from home culture also has also increased, and that is going to give us cleaner environment as well. We may not do work from home all the 7 days, but we can do some portion of our work. So these are the social benefits. Next slide, please. Then cultural benefits. You see, cultural benefits is here. We do namaste, and that culture of Indian culture, heritage, our thinking has gone worldwide. World over, people have now started doing namaste. So our culture has been taken that it is the best way of wishing somebody. Then our thing is that if we are going out, our parents or grandparents or anybody used to tell that don't come to room with your shoes. Shoes should be kept out, and you wash your hands and legs before entering home or place of worship. If you want to enter a worship place, you can't come with the shoes on. So that culture benefit which was there earlier was getting lost. We have now regained, and people have understood that there is no alternative to cleanliness, and this is must. Then technological benefits, unique traditions and culture. You see, in the year 2000, Indian, you see, the technology is a dynamic thing. It keeps on changing. So we have to accept the technology, and even you have a unique tradition and culture. In that, if a technology has given certain advantage, we take it. Earlier, probably when the fridge was not there, people used to say that basi khana nahi khana chahiye, kharab ho jayega, ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega. But now the people, once the fridge has come, there is a cultural change, and people have started storing in a different way. So that is the type of technology gives a traditional change in the culture also. In 2000, I remember clearly, and those who are that time also very conversant with the computer or our thing, that problem of Y2K, because when the things were changing from 2000 to 2001, people envisaged a great problem, or there would have been a great problem in our not only computers, laptops, but even in our mobile, and system would have not worked. It all would have crashed, failed. But it was the Indian engineers or Indian technicians solved this dangerous Y2K problem. So now, India being the second largest pharmaceutical sector, I feel we will have to provide the world with the COVID-19 treatment things, and that is possible. For example, you see the Central Medical Engineering Research, that is the CMERI. They have already done a lot of research, and they have brought out the frontline healthcare workers to avoid contacts. Means they had done the robot system has been, they have launched, and it has been found that, go to the next slide, they have found that there is a tremendous safety involved. Like we have been in the army or any armed forces, people to neutralize a IED, improvised explosive device or bomb, it can be done by human being, but slowly the robot has been developed, and the robot can go and start if it is by chance, if it is not working or some problem is there, then human beings are sent, otherwise it is being neutralized by robot. So aim of the thing is, when a thing can be done by robot, a mechanical thing, by electronically operating, by a certain thing, automated robot. So this was invented by CMARI, and AIMS has tested this, and it is working very fine, and it is a good innovation which has brought the COVID-19 has brought it. Then IIT Bombay has also invented low-cost ventilators, Ruhadar. Ruhadar has been created or developed by IIT Bombay, which is very low-cost ventilators. Otherwise, earlier the ventilators was beyond the reach of common person. Even the rental part of it. Then Pune-based MyLab, which we know that COVID-19 test kit was created by them, whose result was available in 4 to 5 hours, and then this Chitra Jenny Lamp and confirmatory COVID-19 test result in 2 hours. They have also claimed, and it has been tested, that if you want to get a confirmatory test on COVID-19, then this Chitra thing is working. Then next slide comes to economic benefits. Now, crude oil price, as we know, has dropped, but our petrol and diesel price has been not come down proportionately. By the government has not done. Why they have not done, I also know that there is already a saving of around $50 billion in Indian things. So this is going to be an economic help to India. Otherwise, shift of manufacturing to India from China. This is a great thing. Now, China's, because of Wuhan, this thing happening, and also a lot of people have blamed China of hiding this particular pandemic and creating problem. So many of the manufacturers want to shift from China to other countries, and India has given sort of a support to it. They have invited them, and India should grab this opportunity and build strategic infrastructure. Strategic infrastructure, you all understand, we have to build a lot of strategic infrastructure to host them, this type of manufacturing things in India. And as we say, made India. Everything can be made in India. And the government very recently has also announced, I don't know how much it is going to be implemented, that all medium and small size industries have been given 20 lakh crore to boost MSME. This has to reach them. If that reaches, our small industries, which is practically dying, or it may say they died because of this pandemic, will again rejuvenate, and a lot of people not only get their job back, but the India will not depend on big companies, but India will be, our own children will be benefited. India is the second largest PPE kit producer in just 2 months. You see, we have this potential. When the PPE kit was discovered or told that this requirement is there, and after within 2 months, India topped. If you see the graph, that in the first few days, India was nowhere. In the first month, we reached more than 60% of our achievement, and within 2 months, we became the second largest PPE producing country. So this is the capability of our MSME. Next, this Pune-based MyLab COVID-19 test kit results, this we have already discussed. So I just want to, last 2 things has been added here. You see, our it should be export-driven economy with ample job opportunities. This is what is most important. And second is positive vibes brings positive life. This is the slogan which I'm talking in each platform. I personally feel that we should have positive vibes. Think positive, work positive, and if you have positive vibes, and then it will bring positivity in your life and positivity of your community, your circle in which you mix, they will also have positivity. A great lesson taught by COVID-19. I think this COVID-19 has given this lesson more, that think positive and you get a positive thinking. Then only you can fight the COVID-19. Next. I think we have got another 15-20 minutes. How much time more? Dr. Pargaon, sir, how much time I have?
Yeah, take 5 minutes, sir. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. Then I will not speak now. I will just show the heading.
Because next session is to be started. No?
No, actually, we got the platform late. Actually, I was told the 45 minutes to speak. And I have got at 3:25. 2:25. So that I think 35 minutes. Anyway, we'll now.
Because still we have to. There are some questions also. So.
Okay. Then in the question we can discuss.
Okay.
So who took care of higher education in India? As we know that it is the central government. And is educational policy and reforms are essential elements of a country's progress? No doubt it is essential. So I will not deliberate. Indian educational policy and reforms and overview. This I had given what has been created, the NCRT, UGC, AICT, SCERT. So all these were created different time frames for giving education a boost. And various states had done various they have helped, like Telangana, for example, made gender education compulsory at the graduate level. Similarly, Assam government announced free higher education, 3-year degree and polytechnic diploma courses for students who can't afford them. Delhi government announced that school teachers and principals would be sent to reputed Indian and foreign institutions to undergo training. These policies were there. How much it has happened has to be seen. Himachal Pradesh launched Rajiv Gandhi Digital Student Yojana, under which laptops were given to students who have obtained distinctions in class 10th and 12th examination. Top educational policy and reforms in this decade. So that is one. You can just keep on moving. One is Swam MOOCs portal, that is study webs of active learning for young aspirant minds. Then the second one is AICT, NPTEL engineering, and UGC is for non-technical post-graduation, CEC for, so there are so many organizations has been created during this to create our education system. National Digital Library, which all of you know, and it is the Ministry of Human Resources have done. It is being developed to help students to prepare for entrance and competitive examination, to enable people to learn and prepare from best practices. And it has already brought together more than 10 million digital books and journals, and more than 3 million learners are using this facility. It supports all academic levels, including researchers and lifelong learners, all disciplines, all popular form of access devices, and differently abled learners. Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, UBA, the mission of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan is to leverage the intellectual capital higher education institution for upliftment of rural areas. Based on that, the IITs, IIMs have been developed, and they have been given in 2014. Many more IITs and IIMs were created. Pandit Madan Mohan Malavya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching programs. It is a very important thing that a continued teachers education, like what we are doing today, is required throughout the period of a teacher. So it has got, the next was this imprint, impacting research, innovation, technology, which has been given by the chairperson here mentioned. Even in the inaugural session, it was mentioned that research is how it is important, And basically, it has to be innovative, not on cut and paste. It has to be innovative and technology based. Then the Uchatar Avishak Yojana. So Uchatar Avishkar Yojana. Uchatar Avishkar Yojana is something like inventing certain things. And it has got a very big fellowship. Then Prime Minister's Research Fellowship is also there. Then Smart India Hackathon Initiative. So this is another scheme, National Institutional Ranking Framework. This is ranking the various institutes of the country, and it is important to give a moral boost to everybody, every organization. Everybody should see that which education is for the persons, those who are going to be taught there, and also the organization who is running that. Higher Education Financing Agency. It is also important that every higher education system gets a financing support. Then Rashtriya Uchatar Shiksha Abhiyan, RUSA, Rashtriya Uchatar Shiksha Abhiyan, is a holistic scheme of development for higher education in India, initiated in 2013 by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. The centrally sponsored schemes aims at providing strategic funding to higher education institutions throughout the country. Then technical education quality improvement. This is an important thing, that technical education quality improvement is required. The World Bank gives a lot of assistance for this, and people should be able to harness from that. Under the Technical Education Quality Improvement Program, Phase 3, which was launched, focus has been given to the backward states in the central, tribal belt and northeastern regions. Then IIM Act, with a view to promoting autonomy for the premier institutions, the IIM Act has declared them as institutes of national importance and gave complete autonomy for deciding their administrative and academic matters without any government interference. A very important thing, that interference was too much in education system, which should be not there. It should be left to the head of the organization and his team, his or her team. National Scholarship Portal, it is also there. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, it was an old one, but it has been revamped, and other policy reforms and initiatives are various there. Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, E-Pathshala has been developed by NCERT. Challenges ahead and suggestions for improvement. This is what I felt I have just jotted down. First challenges is equitable access to education is a complex issue in a country like India with such a diverse population. Implementation of pan-India reform becomes a daunting task in a heterogeneous socio-political and economic situation. This is something like I'm concluding now, so I have just put down in one place. The governments in the last 10 years, irrespective of which government was there, have introduced several schemes and policies to improve the overall education system of the country. But still, there are challenges in improving the quality and content of instruction. Our education system still lags behind global standards. All this calls for a critical relook into the issues and challenges to implementing educational reforms effectively in the country. We are not being able to implement the reforms, even that which has been planned and approved. Reforms and policy implementation are highly influenced by personal preferences, interests, and ideologies of key players. So this is the main problem which has happened. It is the personal ideologies and personal preferences have taken over the actual requirement. We have seen in past issues around curriculum reforms that have been difficult to achieve, primarily because of ideological views. Social programs like educational reforms require structural changes in the system. It requires a major surgery. It cannot be done by medicine. So it requires a structural change. People may criticize, but one has to get into it. It has to focus on improving long-term learning outcomes instead of bringing piecemeal changes. It has to be long-term thinking, that every time after 2 years you don't, because of the HRD ministry changes or the government changes, you cannot change the scheme. It has to have at least 10 to 20 years period to get the rip of it. You are harvesting something, so you have to wait for that. Academic standards in educational institutions must be raised to provide a world-class learning experience to students. Budgetary constraints and lack of technological resources should not push a reform agenda to the wall. Sometimes because of fund nahi hai, ye nahi hai, isko dustbin mein dal do. वो नहीं होना चाहिए. Transforming the education system without bringing a behavioral change is a futile process. Yes, we have to have a behavioral change in us, among all of us. The national educational policy came into force. You see, the first time which national educational policy, in fact, which was very effective, was everybody thinking 1968, because that is the time which I was also involved in learning on that, to make education accessible to masses. It was aimed to strengthen national integration through a unified culture of learning. National prosperity was deeply linked to the progress of this initiative. Since then, constant measures have been taken to reform the Indian education system to provide better education services in the country. Latter, resolution on scientific policy was adopted by the central government that resulted in the creation of an Indian Institute of Technologies and all that. The primary aim of the national educational policy was to address the problem of illiteracy by promoting education amongst the country's people. So this was focused at that time, illiteracy. Since then, a lot has been done to improve and strengthen the academic and education level of the country. So illiteracy has gone, or mostly going. It is not the main problem now. Now we have to come to the second step. While that step will continue, it is not to be stopped. That will continue, but we have to think a little ahead. We have gained a lot in the last decade in progress. However, a comprehensive appraisal of the system needs to be done to bring systematic changes. It will bring the nation to the league of the world's biggest encounters and biggest economies. The gap between rural and urban standards of education needs to be checked. Infrastructure should be revamped to improve the quality of education services. Now, this online thing in villages is practically a problem. The village children, they may do very well in their education, but they can't go for a competition of IITs or the problem of education system like medical exam competition, because they are not getting access to these facilities. A comprehensive approach should be followed towards providing better opportunities of employment to our graduates. Make policies where school education and higher education become affordable for all. Access to education should be further intensified by making some fundamental shifts in the implementation process. This implementation process is required, very important. Government can easily achieve better results if the implementation is done. The main focus of educational reforms in India should be on enhancing job skills of our students. It will help develop a nation too. Job skill is most important, and skill should be developed rather than bookish knowledge. Of course, this transformation will require collective support from public schools, academicians, intellectuals, and economists, and other people from society. Education is a powerful tool for preparing people to progress in the global economy. The 1968 and 1986-92 National Education Policy and now 2020 policy recognized education as a precondition for development and set out three critical issues in those policies: equity, accessibility, and quality. Lastly, I want to say that ancient India has been a hub of knowledge in the field of science, mathematics, astronomy, physics, chemistry, fine arts, medical sciences and surgery, architecture, and many more disciplines. The Indian education system of has been already a torchbearer. It should reflect profound impact and inspiration to all educational systems of the world, particularly in and around the region. By implementing these basic changes, the Indian education system can be radically reformed to regain its glorified legacy of a global place and learning and knowledge. So I think with this, I stop, and any questions, if anything, we can discuss.
Thank you, sir. Very nicely, in a very simple and understandable language, you have shared your views, not only your own insight, which will definitely help this audience. We have received three, four questions. Two questions of the same meaning, Dr. Amritya and Professor Sharma. And it is our concern also, major concern, because since we are in a physical education, and you have, as you have rightly pointed out, that sports is should be the compulsory subject. And what is happening, that it remains remains on a paper, principally accepted, practically neglected. Likewise, if you refer earlier policies of Kothari 1986 or 1968, 86 or 1992 action plan, so there also it was mentioned that physical education and sports should be a part and parcel of education system. However, as we know that state is under the state this authority. So there are what happens uh, even in the because you are in the state of Maharashtra, sports is a should be the compulsory subject, but practically there is no scope, because recently in last 3-4 years state government has accepted the policy of there's a compulsory that uh, education, uh, that policy, under that policy they have neglected this sports activity. And we have all witnessed because of this COVID-19, uh, the importance of immunity. So the immunity, how to build immunity. The question, my specific question is, sir, on behalf of Dr. Amritya and Professor Sharma, how can we make practically sports as a compulsory subject in the this education system? Yes, sir.
You see, this is a very big problem,
Huh.
whether the egg is first or the hen is first, because this point was taken by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. The secretary and myself both walked to the secretary of HRD, and we discussed this point that it should be a compulsory subject, because NCRT, there was a meeting in LNIP and we discussed, deliberated, we recommended, and it went, including the some sort of a syllabus was also made, and teacher's guide was made, rather, how to teach, because books were not there for the classes for everybody at that time. I am talking of 2006-7. So what actually happened then, this question was asked by the secretary of MHRD. So I had suggested one thing. I told that we don't want that it should be made compulsory from 1 to class 12 in the first go, because the parents are not tuned, the students are not tuned. Parents think the class 9th or 10th girl or boy who is studying, if he or she goes to the ground and gets hurt, his board exam will get affected, and it is going to be his career, finish their career. And it is maybe some time right, maybe in 2% of the 100 people में 2% को ऐसे problem आ सकता है. So what I had suggested is, sir, you start class 1 and class 5. These two classes on the first year, 2008, we had planned that it should start in these two classes, for which the present teachers are good enough to teach these classes, and the syllabus is also ready. We can now launch this. Next year, when the class 1 students will go to class 2, or class 5 student will go class 6, then we'll start for class 1, 2, and 5 and 6. So this will be the 4 classes will have the compulsory subject. Compulsory means it is not that you have a grade. You have to give marks, and that marks will be included. It is not a extracurricular activities. It is the main subject, one of the subjects.
Yes, yeah.
So it has to be taken, like you are taking maths, this has to be taken compulsorily. And this may continue up to class 10. 11th and 12th, that will be an optional subject on this initially. For those who want to go in this line, or suppose somebody wants to go for physical education, B.Ed study or somewhere. So this 12th, 11th and 12th help them to get into that for competitive examination, for other tests and everything. But up to class 10, it has to be made compulsory, and we told that we do it in a 5 years plan, 5 years program, 2008 to 2013. This complete paper was submitted, which was accepted also. He told, yes, it will be done. But it got fizzled out. It has to be forced and implementation. That's why I was very sad, because I was there after that, up to 2.5 years after that. And every year I used to keep on taking. So my suggestion, those who are in the policy making, like you are there in the university and you are there also in the state government policy making, you just insist for one class. You say that
Okay.
this will be compulsory from this class 1 karo and it's go start
Yeah.
karo. It may be a
Yes.
10 years program, it may be a 5 years program, but
Yeah.
it has to start.
Yeah, because this COVID-19 has taught us that immunity building, you see, just to take a medicine is not enough. We have to
Yes.
train our body. How to be good, resistance has to be built up.
Yes.
And physical education and sports is the only way to make you fit.
Very good.
So another question is asked by one Mr. Purohit, Dr. Purohit, and he is asking how can we, in a more progressive manner, raise the status of higher education. Actually, you have already highlighted on this particular thing, and now there is no question. So while, sir, while this sharing my impressions about your overall in a very simplest manner, from the basic thing, from the meaning of reformation, and particularly in Indian perspective, by taking a chronological review, like Lord Curzon's time, Lord Macaulay's time, because their motivation was different, their focus was different. And after independence also, you have taken a review and you have pointed out, so, out in many things about what is done and what needs to be done so far as the higher education in Indian perspective is concerned. You have pointed out the importance of going hand in hand while teaching and learning, dynamic curriculum, need of skill-based education, and particularly rural area where there is a lack of computer and internet connectivity. Then teachers training has to be focused, infrastructure and sports compulsory, which is already. You have also pointed out the effects of COVID-19, means various types of effect, cultural benefits, economical benefits, also focused on challenges and challenges before us. So in all, positive, negative, all aspects you have covered, and I do hope that your input to this faculty development program will definitely enable the participants to understand, know, and implement the ways which we have suggested for the upliftment of our higher education, because we have already accepted, you see, the fund, the contradiction in the year where from 2020 there is a pandemic situation where everything is uncertain. From last 8 months, no school, no colleges, nothing is going on, no examination, all is shut down. And where we have also accepted the policy which was designed earlier from last 5 6 years, the planning was going on, and still we do not know what will happen next. So under this, by taking the cognizance of all these aspects, though this new policy is coming with new things like institutional constructing high quality liberal education, optimum learning environment creation, student support, capable faculty making, and empowering governance as well as autonomic status in higher education. And even there are some changes also with respect to governance and regulations as such, as higher education in the country. And there is an approach, this focus or motivational approach of reformer is by taking the cognizance of the reality is done. Let us hope that this lockdown and this pandemic situation will come to an end. And with this, once again, sir, thank you for your very effective presentation as well as interaction with us. Uh, and now I hand over the mic to Dr. Madhuri Satgir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your unforeseen input, sir. Sir, really, it was chronological process. I feel that the history is coming one after another, and the way the way you presented, it's important, and then further complexity, and then how much it is important to implement and why it is not implemented still now, so that So all this part, all these points you cover and presented in very informative way. Actually, this was fruitful session. I can say it was complete session to provide the information about the educational reform, and that is what we call the legendary Major General, sir, because this is the what we learn from you, sir. So thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for this very
Thank
informative,
you.
vibrant session. And I'm sure that participant will be benefited with your presentation, sir. It is an eye-opening presentation, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would like to thank to Dr. Pargaonkar, sir, for accepting our invitation as a chairperson and sharing the relevant facts on the educational reform in the higher education. Sir, thank you so much. I know you are very busy as there is lot many things going on in a academic, like in the colleges and in departments. And out of that, you are sparing your time, particularly for this first session, means like you in from the inaugural session. So I'm very, very thankful to you, sir, and your support is always there. We are we are very thankful to you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, S.N. Mukherjee, sir. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Now we are proceeding towards the next session. Uh, the session will be chaired by Dr. Jyoti. Madam is belongs to the YMCA College. Madam is working as an associate professor in the YMCA College of Physical Education, which is based from Chennai. Madam is having total 30 years of experience working in the field of physical education and sports. She is very emphasized and dynamic personality. She contributed many work from the practical point of view. Her area of specialization is kinesiology, biomechanics, and exercise physiology, as well as yoga. Madam PhD is belongs to the exercise physiology subject. She is currently working on the area of she is currently working on research on the area of physical education, health, social sciences. Madam is having more than 66 paper publication in referred journals. She has 42 papers in international referred journals. Madam written 8 books in physical education, yoga, and aerobics. Madam has Madam honored with 6 national awards. Madam is having 11 citations and 2 H factors. Beyond that, Madam is specific in the teaching aerobics, yoga in different age group, pregnancy and exercises. So it's not ma'am serving to only physical education, she's serving to the general population also. And specifically the pregnant woman, she's taking session workshop to how healthy delivery can be possible. Madam given number of programs on programs and interview on satellite channel such as Vijay TV, which is very popular TV channel in the south, like particularly with Chennai, Jaya TV, and Air Anna FM. FM is a channel, radio channel, where she delivers so many her programs. Madam acted as a resource person, gave a lecture and the render 190 lectures at various capacity. Her research area of the interests are yoga, aerobics for pregnant women, exercise physiology. She taught aerobic exercise for more than 4,000 uh, pregnant women. That's a big deal, ma'am. That's a really big contribution. Associated with them for 14 years. Also taught aerobics for the school teachers at various level of MHRD and the RSSA. Madam published 34 articles related to the aerobics and their effect in the leading magazines. Madam is having different awards at national level. It is almost more than 6 awards is recorded in her career. She is a gymnastic player. She represented university in gymnastic, basketball, cricket, hockey, and kabaddi. She has been recognized as technical expert for the Bharatiyan 1989, New Delhi inauguration of Nehru Stadium, Chennai in 1993, and choreography, rhythmic gymnastic, and step aerobics in the inaugural and closing ceremony in the 7th SAF Game 1995, which is held in the Chennai. She was honored with the Chief Minister and the government of TN for her service. Madam, we are very great to have you here as a chairperson. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. I also.
We have a co-chairperson for this session, Lieutenant Dr. Seema Sharma Kaushik. Madam is working in the Lakshmi Bai College University of Delhi in the Department of Physical Education and Sports as an assistant professor. Madam is also looking after the NCC. She is an NCC officer under the 7th Girls Battalion with a grade of NCC officer. She has completed her MPEd from LNCP, PhD from CIE, University of Delhi, and MA in Yoga from Uttarakhand Open University. She also completed her NET in physical education and in yoga, and she was awarded with a JRF scholarship. She has won 13 medals for Indian, including the 6 gold medal, 3 silver and 4 bronze medal. Different Asian Masters Athletic Championship at Singapore, Japan, China, Taipei and Malaysia, and represented India in the World Master Athletics Championship at Brazil and USA between 2010 to 2016. She is black belt holder and national player of judo and member of gold medal team of LNCP. Lot many things are there to talk about, madam. She has numerous paper presentation in the refer journal. She deliver lecture in the different capacity in the different conferences and webinars, webinar workshops, and she is one of the very dynamic personality, because I know I pass a few time with her, and she is really very particular. I can say this word goes to her. She is very, very particular, very focused person in the physical education and sports. And I'm very happy that ma'am is here to co-chair the session. I'm just okay. This session will be over to Dr. Seema. Please take over the session, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ma'am, you unmute yourself, please. Unmute, ma'am. Ma'am, you unmute yourself. Your voice is not audible. Unmute yourself, ma'am. Ma'am, your voice is not audible, actually.
Ma'am, please check your computer voice,
Computer voices.
your system voice. There is an option to check the system voice.
Dr. Seema? Yeah, still it's not audible, ma'am.
No, no, we can't hear. Yes, you can now. Yes. No.
No, ma'am, there is a option on. Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Madam, you can rejoin.
There is an option in the mute. If you'll click on that, you will find same as system. You can click on same as, or you are using your headphones, so speaker oblique headphones. You can use that option. Or better, you rejoin. You leave the meeting and rejoin. Ma'am, Dr. Madhuri, if we are getting late, we can start with the chairperson.
Okay. She's in actually. We'll just ask her.
Yes,
Let's
you
just
can
ask ma'am. Dr. Seema, you are there?
Seema ma'am has not joined yet.
Okay. Okay.
So I think Jyoti ma'am can start
Yeah.
the session.
No, we have to introduce the speaker, and I think she has got the profile of madam. Yeah.
Dr. Madhuri,
So-
if you can do that.
Okay, I'll do the reading for profile.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for this technical problem. It is part and parcel of nowadays, the part and parcel of this procedure. So
I can see Dr. Seema has joined. If she's ready, then
just, can you spot the light on her? Yes. I think some mic problem is there, I think so.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can
yes. Go ahead. Yes.
Very good. Oh.
Yeah. Please, sorry, don't know what happened.
It's okay, ma'am. It's okay.
Start, madam. Start with the introduction.
Yeah, I don't want to waste time. A very good evening to all of you. And thank you, Dr. Mane and Dr. Madhuri, for making me a part of this International Faculty Development Program. Now I take pleasure to invite our honorable speaker of the second session. Please welcome Professor Marlene Evangelio Ofrecio. She is the head of the Institution of Sports, Physical Education and Recreation at University of Southern Mindanao, Cabacan, province of Northern Cotabato, Mindanao, Philippines. She has pursued her Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Physical Education, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Master of Arts in Teaching Human Kinetics, and completed her PhD in Education, major in Physical Education. She is a licensed professional teacher and also a registered nurse at the same time. An associate professor level 1 is also the department chairperson for Bachelor of Physical Education and ISO internal auditor. Today, she will be talking to us on the topic International Approach Towards Higher Education from the Philippine Perspective. We welcome you, ma'am, and I request chairperson of the session, Dr. K. Jyoti, to please take over to conduct the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon and good evening to one and all present here. So without wasting our time, may I request Madam to kindly take over and to highlight on the topic International Approach Towards Higher Education, Philippine Perspective. May I request you, Madam Professor Marilyn, kindly.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to be back here talking and speaking with you. Thank you very much, Dr. Madhuri Sadir, for the organizing secretary, for inviting me. It was really a great pleasure for me to talk and to contribute something in terms of faculty development in the Philippine perspective. I would also want to say thank you to Dr. Manohar Mani, the head of the Physical Education Department of the Mumbai University. Sir, thank you very much for heading this activity, this webinar. And to Dr. Sema and Dr. Jyoti, thank you very much for a very kind introduction. I am so my heartfelt gratitude to everybody, and thank you very much for inviting me talking about how the physical education and how the higher education is working in the Philippines. So I would like to bring you to the Philippine perspective or perspective in terms of physical education. And for now, I would like to share with you this screen, a PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it? Can you see
No,
Dr.
ma'am.
Madhuri?
No, ma'am. It's not visible.
Okay. I'll just check this first. Okay. So it is already available. Can you see it, Dr. Madhuri?
Ma'am, you go through the share screen because it's not.
Yeah.
Visible. Yeah.
It is already shared.
Okay, it is not visible, but
Okay. I'll go back to how it should be.
there is a button share screen.
Yeah. I saw it, and then okay.
Open your slide and then again click share. There will be blue color share.
Okay, I saw it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So you saw it already? Is it
Yeah.
already available?
Now you click this cup shape, cup. No, next edge, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. So I am working as a professor from University of Southern Mindanao, and I would be bringing you to the Philippine perspective on the international approach towards higher education. So we understand that when we talk about internationalization, it is a one key of feature of higher education in the global era in the light of free flow of students and workers within and across regional economies, and the necessity of international linkages in the generation of productive knowledge, innovation, and technology. One example for this is when I was able to visit the Lucknow University in the UP Pradesh last year, October. So that is also one way of what exchanging our ideas, or and I was very was a very flattering experience for me to visit India, especially in the Lucknow University. So I consider as one internationalization, which is a very important factor in the development of not only in the faculty or in bringing all the important lessons towards our students. So let me introduce to you the structure of the Philippine higher education. So the higher education institutions in the Philippines is governed by the Commission on Higher Education. Under this office were the state colleges and universities, and my school or my university is also part of this, the private higher institutions, and the local universities and colleges. So the prospective international this shed has its mission on the Philippine higher education system that is locally responsive and globally competitive, and serves as a force for lifelong learning, innovation, and social and cultural transformation. One of its mandate is to promote relevant quality I'm sorry relevant quality higher education. So institutions and programs at par with international standards, and graduates and professionals are highly competent and recognized in the international arena. So each university has always its aim to also make their quality graduates, or to produce quality graduates wherein they can work in international arena, or they can compete globally. So that is one program handled by the CHED. So in the Philippines, our country, or the Philippines, is a member of the ASEAN states, enlarges its economic space by expanding markets for goods and services. These spaces are the backdrop of the Philippines' comprehensive and policy reforms that include the internationalization of higher education. So that's why we are always confined to the memorandum orders set forth by the Commission on Higher Education. So wherein this program, or this policy, or this SHED office is making a policy reforms within the context of the ASEAN programs. So internationalization of higher education is traditionally practiced involving cooperation among universities to advance knowledge frontiers and promote social and cultural diversity. So each of those faculty who has been, or students who has been exposed to the different universities and colleges from different countries had its experience, and they have able to understand and promote social and cultural practices from their own countries also. So that should strategies involves the enhancement, or within the strategy of the Commission on Higher Education in terms of the internationalization of higher education, is to enhance implementation of the quality assurance framework and the quality, effectiveness, and efficiency of Philippine higher education institutions. That's why our university, or each universities in the Philippines, is subjected to accreditations. One of the strategy also by the Commission in Higher Education is the systematic facilitation of countrywide and regional mobility and market access of students, faculty, and staff. This also includes strengthening of appropriate international linkages of higher education institutions, or HEIs, for a sustainable Philippine international higher education sector. So these strategies includes the pillars, the two pillars, which is the home-based or campus-based internationalization of higher education. With When we talk about home-based or campus-based, it is a collaborative activities and events, networking partnerships, and other forms of linkages with foreign HEI. So this is one thing that before, when I go to Lucknow University, and with Professor Rajesh Kumar, I was able to talk to him, especially in the programs for physical education, because I wanted to link, especially on the area of yoga, as one physical education activity for our faculty to be trained on this aspect. So this is part of forming a linkages to foreign HEIs, but still it is in the process of what negotiation. So these home-based campus activities may be not only done by face-to-face, but it is done in through our technology. So what we are doing nowadays is through technology. We make use of our technology to be able to share what we have from our own, or from the different state universities, based on the different resource speakers that you have invited, to include the Philippine resource speakers. Activities for these home-based or campus-based activities includes the curriculum and program. So in the internationalization of higher education, or towards higher education, the curriculum programs, activity for the curriculum programs includes the provision of international content and dimensions in the curriculum, teaching and learning programs, and learning materials, wherein, just like for example in physical education, it is really our wish to include the yoga as one very one physical activity which is really originated from India. So it could be one, maybe soon, that would be integrated in our program also, if we will be allowed, or there will be a linkage between our university and the other university through the using this technology. In the aspect of teaching and learning process, the internationalization towards higher education talks about, or in these aspects, there is this involvement of return study abroad students, the use of international scholars and teachers, integration of international and intercultural materials, and virtual student mobility. Just like, for example, our first speaker a while ago talks about, especially on the IMs, the instructional materials, wherein we can share also. So another home-based or campus-based activity is that on extracurricular activities, wherein there is an establishment of student clubs and organizations linked with those in other countries, holding of intercultural campus events, as well as establishing connections with cultural and ethnic groups. So that is on the aspect of extracurricular activities. So another on liaising with local cultural ethnic groups. So this is in terms of engagement with local cultural and ethnic groups through internships, placement, and applied resources. This also speaks on the involvement of local and cultural ethnic groups in teaching and learning, and it also includes the research. So another home-based or campus-based activity is the research and scholarly activity, the establishment of area of theme centers, joint research projects with international content, holding international conferences, and international research partnerships, which we really look up into, especially on our field in the physical education, because I think there is really an importance of doing some doing some international research partnerships. Um, Another pillar for the internationalization of higher education is the so-called cross-border education. So these are all within the memorandum or within the policy made by the Commission on Higher Education in the Philippines. So we have this under our cross-border education. We have these activities, the student faculty researcher mobility. So this talks about studying in a foreign country, the faculty exchange between different countries, the research fellowship collaboration are involving visits of scholars. So just last year, before the COVID, we have our scholars here in our university. We have foreign language study. We have building international perspectives through networks involving travel of learners, faculty, and researchers. So this is also practiced by the Philippines for the internationalization of higher education. So the so-called program mobility, which is we have the so-called training program. So one program offered by a foreign university, which can also be offered in the Philippines, the academic franchising, the program articulation programs, and the joint or double awards. So another activity for cross-border education is the institutional mobility. So talk about mobility, there is a movement of the activities, or there is a movement on the internationalization of higher education programs. So institutional mobility talks about branch campuses, offshore institutions, and international institutions. So the internationalization strategy in the higher education in the Philippines is warranted by the demands of integration and globalization, which can be met by enhancing students' learning environment, provision of diversified experiences, and sharpen competencies. This would enable them to participate meaningfully in regional and global labor markets, because we understand that each universities in the globally has its own strength and has its own weaknesses also. So it is also very important that we share those strengths and we share also those weaknesses, so that our students would be able to meet the demands of the we will be able to meet the global demands of when they also go to the different countries as they look for a greener pasture. So, but the challenge nowadays, especially, we can go with the so-called internationalization towards higher education through a campus-based or through a so-called exchange of the so-called cross-border education. But we have this very big challenge nowadays, and this is the onset of the pandemic, or COVID-19 pandemic. So there is now the problem, though everything is already set up in the Philippines on how are we gonna do, what are we gonna, where could we go for the internationalization of our programs towards higher education. But we have this challenge of how can we go on with this because of this COVID-19 pandemic. So nowadays, because the policy on this internationalization is already set by our country or by the Commission on Higher Education, the specific office in the Philippines, everything has stopped. Everything, because nowadays, or what happened is that even our students abroad has undergone or needs to go home. So COVID-19 is creating a broad-based crisis for higher education globally. The implications include challenges to the internationalization of higher education. So higher education is hit hard by this pandemic, and the internationalization agendas and activities of institutions, particularly so given their often heavy reliance on the physical movement and in-person engagement of students, faculty, and staff to advance core interest. So activities on internationalization and higher education was severely affected. So what we do is that in the Philippines, our OJT students, our faculty, exchange faculty, has to undergo repatriation. So they have to go back here in our country for them to be taken care of by the government. So this is one very big challenge on the internationalization of towards higher education in the Philippines. How can we go on with the already set activities when we are being challenged by this pandemic? But we understand that all these things that happens, or this pandemic, has also its um aspect, and the one for that is, or one of that is the so-called the making use of the technology. So the making use of the technology nowadays, having just like this the webinar, the flexible learning, the implementation of flexible learning can also be done, but it will still undergo so many series of consultations, so many series of planning, and of planning, especially on making some guidelines when there is an involvement already of foreign schools or foreign higher education institutions. So when we talk about flexible teaching and learning, designing perspective is deeply rooted in the needs of the students, and the main objective should be to provide learners with the most flexibility on the learning content, schedules, access, and innovative assessment, making use of digital and non-digital tools. So this is now the challenge for the higher education institutions, especially in the Philippines, in its prospect, or in on its future plans for internationalization of Philippine higher education. There is already a set rules. There is already a set guidelines. All we have to do is just to um, adapt it to the new normal, to especially nowadays. So we can go on with flexible learning, implementation of the flexible learning. So I think that would be very important, and the working on with those plans should have its so-called very thorough planning. And if there will be a chance for the partnership or linkages of the different institutions of higher education institutions, just like for example our university and the Mumbai University or other universities in India, that would be great, even with the use of technology. So I hope I have shared something for you, for everybody who is listening now, especially for our faculty, that my point here is, let us not stop making or giving experiences to other people, especially to our students, even on this pandemic. So it's high time for us to adapt of what is very important, especially on the so-called flexible learning, because learning should not stop. Education should not stop. It should continue. And as faculty, it is very important, especially in the field of physical education. The faculty for physical education are being developed to be mentally, socially, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally that we are being trained to be developed in all these aspects, and we are resilient to any problems that would happening, and we could always find ways for us to be able to deliver the teaching or the learning experience to our students. And I think that is very, very important. And let us, maybe it is also very important that we will not stop sharing knowledge, sharing ideas, sharing programs, so that we will be able to develop and produce still quality graduates despite of this pandemic. So thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you the perspective of the Philippines in terms of internationalization of higher education or towards higher education. Everything is uncertain, even if it is being set already, but because of this pandemic, it is uncertain. But we will go on and we will be moving on. And that is what physical educators should do. Thank you very much. Namaste, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Professor Marilyn, for the beautiful highlight that you have given towards the Philippine education system, and the way you have presented was really excellent. So you have literally highlighted upon the structure, the vision, the mission, and you started with the literal presentation of your Philippine structure. And then slowly you went on with the international approach towards higher education. And you also brought out the pillars as home-based and campus-based. And then you have the interaction with the various countries where you can have the MOU, and in particular about yoga that you are planning. And I wish you overcome and then you bring yoga as part of your curriculum. So that's one. And then you also have highlighted about the cross-border education and the curriculum activities. So during the pandemic also, you have spoken about the repatriation. That is a little not that very comfortable, when somebody loses job is a real pathetic. And that's what you have mentioned about. Even in India, I'll try to speak about little in that. And you are very flexible in the pandemic situation where the teaching learning process is going on. Thank you very much, ma'am. In this, when we look at the national education policy now, these days, now we have tried to change. The government of India has changed after 34 years, they have tried to change the systemic change in the sector and incremental, okay, like one of the underlying several new rules that will benefit students, education providers, and particularly the labor market. And even in your country, you have spoken about the labor market. The new education policy that received from the union cabinets today, last Wednesday, has put a place to pursue the education reforms, both in higher education and school sectors. And if it is implemented well, the norms will reduce the regular hassles and promote autonomy over here. So what we find that basically the new policies, however, is not clear as such, and we are going to bring it into implementation only from 2021. And whether it will allow the foreign university to come to India and operate independently in the near future is one question mark. And but says it will be lighten up an education regulation space by emerging multiple higher education regulators also. So like University Grant Commission is one of the pioneer which is trying to educate the whole of India, and it is under them. And All India Council of Technical Education, which takes care of the technical education of engineering and polytechnic, or work under the AICT. So that's the system today which is going on. And probably the new policy talks about the phases about the affiliation system in university level, and instead making way for 3 categories of university system. That is research focused university will be one, another will be teaching focused universities, and autonomous colleges. That is going to be our policy. And the final policy has done away with the MPhil. We are actually rendering MPhil, Master of Philosophy, degree in various subjects in all the universities and colleges, which is going to be underlined, and graduation degree will be 3 or 4 years duration slowly, and master's level degrees will be going to be 1 or 2 years duration. Currently we don't basically accept, even my daughter is graduate PG from Sweden, and since she had gone to 1 year degree which is not been recognized by AICTE, so that becomes a question. But in coming days it is going to be recognized. That is what the policy says. And today's policy in the school, when we look into that, we have now going to bring out 5+3+3+4 formula instead of having 10+2 model beside the high stake. Okay. And I remember those days during our school days where the corporal punishments were one of those ones, and today the corporal punishment is not going to be anyway. So when we look into the history of olden days, 90 to 95% of Indian women were basically educated. How many 80 years before, Indian women were the first to be educated, and today it has become common all over the world. And after English came into the system of education in India, so even the Browns wanted to learn English, and that was a cruel way in schools. So it is basically in America that they have, they push the children to learn in four walls, and that was what had come to India. And at last, when you look at the Indians, the Indians became very good in mathematics and various subjects in economics, and all over the world, when you see the Indian children who are passed out from IIT, IIM, and all that are today excelling and holding a very, very high post all over the world. And Indian system of education has been highly recognized, and teachers from India had been taken for various jobs abroad, and they are working very well. So today in India, the child labor has totally been banned, right? Say for example, if a child of a farmer goes to the agriculture field and tries to help his father, and he might learn directly or indirectly, or conscious or unconscious or concomitant learning which takes place, cannot be possible, because once the child gets into the field and if he helps the father, it is called as child labor. But then it has now gone to the reverse, where the school is more worse than this, and this is like a factory filled more factory. So it is not that very interesting for the students. And today now we are also coming on to the different system called as outcome based education system, where we are looking for children would offer their outcome, what they are looking for in future, and based on that they would be opting the subject. Say physical education, they would come out with that. So when you look into the physical education aspect, government is trying in this new policy, they have made physical education as a compulsory along with art and craft, and also with the vocational training. So definitely the physical education finds its place. And when you look into the 11th and 12th standard, they have the option of opting for physical education as a subject to become the to all those who are planning to get into either medicine or JEE, NEET, and all various other examination at the national level. It becomes easy for them to prepare for their competitive exams. So today when you look at the curriculum from first standard to 12th standard, physical education is becoming compulsory, and in the colleges it has come as one of the part of the curriculum. So all the arts and science colleges are going to, definitely all the physical directors are going to teach physical education as part of their curriculum. And I think Mysore University has already adopted this system of implementing physical education as part of one subject, just like compulsory like language, English, and physical education. So this is physical education is one of the compulsory subject that everybody have to undergo at the graduation level. So when you look into the children in India, they play from 0 to 5 years at home, as like Greece and Sparta and Athens, when you have seen the history. And after the toddler age, when they enter into the school age, from 3 to 5, then 5 to 17 years, it has become now compulsory. We emphasize on school, children not only to rely on the school to give physical activities to them, and the parents should also find a role to make their children to play at home also. So that is called as dual system, where home and school should equally take part in implementing or making the children to play at least for 60 minutes. If not, then at least morning or evening, or they can have a kind of slots can be given so that the children can involve themselves. So that is one way that you can go. So most of the daily physical activities should be of aerobic concern. So I have seen some of the residential schools, particularly in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, where I went to the extreme, Coimbatore and other Maruti College and other places, where the boarding children are made compulsory to come at 5 o'clock in the ground, and they do their physical activities, and basically the aerobic exercises are being performed, and particularly walking is being emphasized. So I think all the schools now coming days, the new policy is going to emphasize on that. And I feel basically that if the children are healthy now, they can earn a lot. The time comes when they start earning, they're not in a position to put the money into their pocket, but they have to shut down to the doctors. So that stage is coming, and that is where we identified with some research with LNIP Gwalior that physical education, physical fitness or physical education should be made as part and parcel of their life. And today all the medical colleges, all the engineering colleges adopt physical education and physical fitness as one of their aspects, and all of them are trying to be fit. So I remember Dr. Geeta Arjun, a great gynecologist, whom, and along with her, I've been working with for pregnancy and other things. So she once called me and she said, Jyoti, why don't you teach me some fitness exercises? I said, okay, ma'am. So when I took one stepper to her, and I said that since you have been exercising, you need to have a better load. So when she looked into the stepper and she said, oh my God, I have to take care of my knees, because sometimes in the operation theater, she takes 8 hours to stand in the theater and standing on her two legs, operating for 8 hours, it's a difficult task. So she said to me, Mom, I have to safeguard. So the functional training has become one of the most important, and I feel that children should be given aerobic exercises, and which can be incorporated with some of the strengthening of muscles, bones, at least 3 times per week can be given. The behavioral aspect of the children would also change. The pent-up emotions can be pushed off. Psychologically, they can be very fine, and they can also keep themselves away from this illness, etc. So thank you, Madam, for the beautiful highlight of presenting in the Philippine government what the education policy. And with this, I would like to thank the team, along with Maruti ma'am and the Mane and all the group who have been working on this international faculty development program, where you have brought out a beautiful title of Futuristic Approach for the Quality in Education, Innovation and Assessment when new and with new and normal COVID-19. Very nice topic, Madam. And thanks for this opportunity, and may God bless you all, and let us all be safe, be fit, be fine, and so that we can see in coming days each other. So thanks to the panel members of the University Department of Physical Education, Madam, Maruti and Mane and the other team people for this opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Maruti.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Your words are very much vibrant to pass on to the Indian population. Thank you so much. I would like to thank to the madam who deliver a topic on the educational reform in higher education from the Philippine perspective. Madam, it was really a wonderful session. You bring all the facts and you deliver all the facts in a row. And this session is very much fruitful for the audience to understand what exactly happened in the nearby countries, and how educational reform is promoting, how it is changing, and what is existing and how it is going for further. Your intellect and the knowledgeable contribution will definitely useful for the audience. On behalf of the Department of Physical Education, I'm very thankful for your sharing your valuable time for this FDP, because I know you was also very busy with your daily task, and out of that you committed for this FDP. Thank you so much from behalf of our department. Uh, and I'm very thankful to Dr. Jyoti and Dr. Seema for sparing their precious time, because I know both of them are very busy. They are also presenting, they are also delivering many different presentation topics at different platform, national, international webinars. And Jyoti ma'am was having today by 11 o'clock her session. So out of that, she find time and she contributed her thoughts. That is the very thankful for us, ma'am. Thank you so much from behalf of the department. I'm very thankful for chairing the session. And to Dr. Seema, who is also very kind and very cooperative personality. She always there to support, and I'm very thankful for her support also. Thank you so much, Dr. Seema. Now we are proceeding towards the next session, that is the last session of the day. this is the third session where Dr. Janjaria, who is going to chair the session, along with Dr. Jackson, will be the co-chair for this session. I would like to introduce our chairperson, Dr. Janjaria, presently working as an associate professor in the Department of Exercise Physiology at LNIP, which is a renowned institution in Asia for the physical education and sports. He has more than 16 years of experience in the teaching and training in the field of physical education. He belongs to the basketball game. He is a head coach of the basketball team, and he is a coach of a bronze medal winning team which participated in 2019 at a senior national championship. Sir is not only the physical educator or the coach, he is himself is a very identical person from the fitness point of view and participation point of view. Sir represented all India Inter University in the basketball, handball, netball, cross country at his age of play. And after joining the service, Sir continue his sports career and sports practices, and he represented India in the squash. He played competition in the squash in 2016 at South Africa. Sir honored with the Render Award, which was honored by the EDAX Club of Persian for the completion of 200, 300, 400, and 600 kilometer cycling competitions. So he's not a man of one game. He's a man of 5 to 6 game, because he used to play all this game, and his achievement are very remarkable. He's not only person to do the coaching or deliver lecture. His contribution is there to develop a curriculum at the school level, physical education curriculum card he developed prepared with a CBSC school, and he is a certified national trainer for the British Council. So sir is an expert in his exercise physiology, in the area of exercise physiology, and he has numerous research paper published in the referred journal internationally. Sir also recently published his NET examination book. He also awarded recently with the Galav Utkarsh Khel Ratna Award, which was for the coaches. Dr. Janjaria, I am very thankful to spare your time being a chairperson for this session. I welcome you for this session, sir. Now I would like to invite our co-chairperson, the sir, Dr. Jackson, who belongs to the YMCA College of Physical Education. Sir is a serving assistant professor and is looking for the examination as a CEO of the examination. Sir worked for 21 years in the field of physical education and sports. He belongs to the football, and he completed his NIS diploma, which is regular diploma in coaching, from the Bangalore in 1998 in football. He represented South Zone Inter-University from different universities. Means as he was admitted for the academics for different university, he represented a different university, and he is a qualified referee in the football. He is a technical official in athletics, and he is a football coach of the Alagappa University as well. Sir has numerous achievement, numerous research paper published in the research journals, and he also organized many conferences, and few of the granted by the UGC. He also one of the resource person for many conferences or webinars. More than 15 to 20 lectures he delivered at different platforms. He represented more than 20. His paper was he was chairperson in more than 20 different conferences, and there is lot many things to talk about him also. But because of the shortage of time, we need to stop somewhere. And with this, I would like to invite Dr. Jackson also for this session, and I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Johnson.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your nice introduction. And it's good evening to one and all who have connected in this online 5 days faculty development program. Let me thank our HOD and the convener of 5 Days Faculty Development Program, Dr. Manohar Mane, and Dr. Madhuri, the organizing secretary, 5 Days Faculty Development Program, and all the other committee members for giving this opportunity to share the third session of first day as a co-chairperson in the 5 Days Faculty Development Program. Thank you one and all. So it's my privilege and pleasure to introduce and invite the third session speaker and my teacher, Professor Dr. R. Subramanian, to deliver his speech on educational reform in higher education in an international perspective. He was born in the year 1959. Right now, he is 61-year young man. He has completed his master degree from Annamala University, completed Master of Sports and Diploma in Sports coaching in football from National Institute of Sports, and completed MSc and PG Diploma in Yoga as well as. He has completed the certificate course ICC from Hungary. Currently, he is heading the post of principal in PGP College for Yoga, Sports and Research in Namakkal, Tamil Nadu. He possesses 36 years of experience in which he has the professor and head for 12 years in the Department of Advanced Training and Coaching, Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, and he has served 24 years in Sports Authority of India, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. He has written 4 books and published 28 international articles and 35 national articles. SAR has presented 16 international and 23 national scientific papers in various conferences and seminars. He has delivered more than 125 plenary lectures as a resource person in various platforms. Thrice, he has acted as an All India Inter-University Observer in South Zone Inter-University competitions. He has received 1 international and 4 national awards for best coaching and promoting sports science and yoga. To add the feathers in his cap, SAR has produced 8 PhD scholars in sports coaching and 7 PhD scholars in the field of physical education. He has visited many number of countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, Bahrain, Thailand, and France. At present, he is living in Chennai, and really I am blessed to have him as a teacher. He is a humble man, always ready to help others, very focused and good administrator. On behalf of all the organizers, chairperson, dignitaries, all participants, and my personal behalf, I welcome Professor Dr. Subramanian to deliver his speech on educational reform in higher education, international perspective. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Whether it is audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Sir, Dr. Janjaria is here. Dr. Janjaria, you're here?
Yes.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
hear me?
Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my internet got disconnected.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, yes.
Sir, yes, sir is supposed to start the session. So your site is remain to deliver.
Hello.
Hello.
Whether it is, yeah, we can start. Yes.
Yes. Dr. Subramanian, you please start your session.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sanjaria, as well as Jackson. First of all, I would like to wish you all a happy National Sports Day. Hello. I can share it, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can share it.
Yes, sir.
Screen sharing.
Okay, I think madam's screen may be there.
It's not coming, I think. No? It's not.
Ask
Madam,
her to exit the screen.
Madam, can you exit the screen?
Share the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, Marilyn, madam. Sir, you can share, sir. You can share, I think so.
I just tried. It's not.
Okay, because from here it can see that you can share, sir. You go to the share.
No, otherwise,
Share,
no,
sir.
I already sent to you this a mail also. If you want, you can share it there itself.
Okay, sir. You start your session. I'll download and I'll start sharing, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Very good evening to everybody. First of all, thanks to Dr. Mana and Madhuri and other committee members for giving the opportunity for as a speaker, invited speaker for the international webinar. Actually, the government of India is taken the more care for higher education reforms. The government is actually working on a major overhaul of regulatory system in higher education. The draft of national educational policy is to be uploaded for its recommended, such as administration, teaching, research, curriculum setting, and foreign collaboration. So this regulatory and institutional structure suitable for 21st century. Review of system of governing higher education in Australia, European countries, United States, United Kingdom, and China, which has been most successful in delivering quality education and research, suggests that new system to be designed to promote rather than regulate education. On the basis of national education policy approved by the cabinet chaired by our Prime Minister on 29/7/2020. Madhuri shared my.
Sir, can you see this is visible?
Yeah. I can see. Yeah, you can make it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sir. Okay.
Say now.
Yes.
That higher. Yeah. Introduction. Every established system in the country always attracts severe criticism. The Indian education system especially has been the target of many contentions from students, parents, and teachers. So students think they are overburdened, teachers think they are not paid enough, and parents wants the children to get 99.99%. Where does the buck stop? Yes, in recent times, there have been some steps taken on education reforms, but it needs a lot more than that. Next. Hello.
Yes,
Say,
sir. Yes, sir.
reform. The ultimate word reform means to develop, reconstruct, transform, and improve a system of education. A reform consists of changes and improvement to a law, social system, or institution. For example, examination reform. There are a lot of changes in the examinations point of view regarding the online examination, the payment of fees, and everything they're changing. So it shows. Now, the importance of education is enabling the persons to deal with the life as a whole, become a human person, human personality, leading an independent life, lessons of equality, development of social life, leads to inner freedom, have a procure a job, social and physical development, to earn a living, professional skills, a key to success, education for peace, maturity and integration of personality, harmonious development, modification of behavior, and promote democracy. See, these all the once that the students or anybody having enhanced that education, these are the things has to be improved the behavior shifts. Next. Okay, now I am going to give the topic regarding the international educational reforms in higher education international perspective. So I am going to discuss regarding the such countries, Australia and European countries in Denmark and USA and with India. See, I am going to discuss all the three countries and finally with comparing with the India. This is my today's discussions. Next. Now, already the government international GDP, let me ask for the GDP, the top 10 nations of higher education in 2019 were Finland, the United Kingdom, Serbia, Denmark, Sweden, Portugal, Switzerland, South Africa, Israel, and New Zealand. So actually, as per the GDP, there are the 10 nations that are having a higher education, giving the high importance for more perspective angle of the higher education. Okay, now we are going to go for that. Oh, sorry. Ek minute. I was checking. Now we are going for the higher education reforms in Australia. The Australian government's higher education reforms will enhance the sustainability, transparency, and accountability of the sector while providing students with a greater choice and opportunities to succeed. The reforms will provide better support for students, fairer access for underrepresented groups, and will meet the future needs to industry and the community. The third point is improving sustainability of higher education. Now we are going to discuss in later on. And also the more choice for students and increased transparency and accountability. Now we are going to discuss regarding the improving sustainability of higher education. The higher education sector will be the more sustainable through changes to the sharing of costs between the taxpayers and the students. Improvements to the higher education loan program. Actually, they're having a lot of loan programs. They're giving the strengthening the responsibility of the recognizing the rewarding the quality learning and teaching. That is the main aspect that they help. HELP means the higher education loan program. The same thing, the Commonwealth will remind the majority funder of higher education, the teaching and learning. That is the main aspect. Actually, main aspects, majority funder they're giving for higher education is a teaching and learning. The subsidies provided under the Commonwealth grant scheme. That a new set of repayments threshold will be introduced. Actually, how the repayment will be there, affecting all current and future help. That means higher education loan program debtors by changing the timing and quantity of the repayments. Actually, every time they are not in position to give in the repayment, and they are giving the changing the timing and quantity of the repayments. The indexation of higher education loan program, the repayment threshold currently linked to average weekly earnings, how they are earning per week. According that consumer price index, the repayment will be there. Every week they are changing the that is loan repayment. The same thing, the Commonwealth will support permanent residents and New Zealand citizens through the access to income contingent loans, which means that they will not have to meet the cost of the upfront fees. Actually, they're having the Australian in the Commonwealth. They may be given the permanent residents as well as the New Zealand citizens. They have to meet the cost of the upfront fees. That is the main aspects of the higher education is enhancing in the Australians. Next. Next. The second point, the more choice. Yes. No. Before that, the more choice for students. The Australian government will make higher education the more responsive to all students aspirants while developing the flexible, well-qualified in this 21st century workforce. Actually, the workforce will be the 21st century, having a more responsive for all the student aspirants. The government will commit $15 million over 4 years to assist the establishment and maintenance of 8 community-owned regional study hubs across the mainland of Australia. Actually, the government is spending a lot of money for the higher education. The same thing, the higher education participation of partnership program, that HEPPP, will be reformed to deliver 3 funding streams. First is the loading for each eligible low socio-economic status student. Actually, how the socio-economic status, they are having the one point, and the other is the performing funding based success rates of low socio-economic status of indigenous students, and finally the national priorities pool to give the greater focus of rigorous evaluative research and encouraging the collaboration between the universities. There are the 3 main major points. The HEPP will be reformed. The government will implement a student-centered model for the distribution of the postgraduate coursework place, ensuring the place are used to the institution where the students want to study. The demand-driven funding system will be expanded to include Commonwealth-supported places in approved sub-bachelor level, diploma, and advanced level. A new distribution mechanism for enabling courses will be implemented to better match place the students' need. According to the students' needs, they are making the courses also. The Commonwealth contributes for the first time will be provided for each work experience in industries units that are credited towards the Commonwealth supported qualification. So there are the main aspects when they are the Australians they are doing. Next. Hello. Next. Okay. So there are the major recommendations. Then an integrated policy framework was proposed based on 4 principles, that is a sustainability, quality, equity, and diversity. The major recommendations includes increasing the government's contribution per student's place, strengthening universe governance, providing 5-year equivalent full-time higher education to all eligible Australians, offering financial assistance to students to ensure equity of access to higher education, additional funding of areas of national needs, minimize reporting requirements, promotion of excellence in learning, teaching, and strengthening the research capacity. Actually, the government is having a high recommendation mainly for sustainability, quality, equity, diversity. That is a main framework for higher education. And they're giving the 5-year, the strengthening the university, the 5-year equivalent full-time higher education to all the eligible Australians. That is the main aspects of the Australians governments. Next. Yeah, promoting excellence in learning and teaching. The separate National Institute for Learning and Teaching in Higher Education will be established to provide a national focus for the enhancement of learning and teaching in Australian higher education institution. The Australian awards for teaching, university teaching will be enhanced to raise the status of teaching and support the centralization of teaching in institutional missions. A learning and teaching performance fund will be established to reward those institutions the best demonstrate excellence in learning and teaching. Actually, they are having a high performance. Those who are doing the best university teaching faculty, they are giving a lot of provision of this. The funding of $35.5 million will be provided for 4 international centers of excellence. Actually, separate 4 international centers of excellence, which will become the hubs for exchange of development in Australian higher education, drawing an international linkage and experience. See, the separate 4 international hub for the spending the leader about $35.5 million for the especially for the higher education for the international linkage and expertise. So this is all the things for the having the promoting excellence in learning and teaching. Next. Fostering flexible and responsive workplace. A new workplace productivity program will be established to encourage institutions to pursue a broader workplace reform agenda. An amendment will be made to the Workplace Relation Act 1996 to end protected industrial action which allowed higher education employees to withhold students' examination results. So this is a major criteria for the workplace, those who are doing all the things. An association of governing bodies of Australian universities will be established to improve the capabilities of university leadership by coordinating and promoting professional development opportunities for members of university governing bodies. Next. Quality assurance. Actually, in India also we have the same thing, IQCL. The same thing, the Australian Universities Quality Agencies, AUQA, will be commissioned to conduct audits of overseas higher education provision by Australian providers on whole country basis. Enhancement will be made to the existing graduate distinction survey and course experience questionnaire to support the research and publication of data that inform institutional and sectorial performance. Funding will be provided to promote existing graduate skill assessment instrument, which test generic skills of graduates in the domains of logical thinking, critical reasoning, written communication, and interpersonal understanding. So this is the very, very important things. The individual has to be, that is a main generic skill. The domains of logical thinking. See, now in India has to come like that only. The logical thinking, critical reasoning, written communication, and interpersonal understanding. So this is a major part for the high performance of the higher education policy. Next. Now, before going for the next Denmark, there have a European Commission policy. The education and culture are essential to develop the more inclusive, cohesive, and competitive Europe. See, the main continent where spending time in another member state to study the learn to work has to become the standard, and where, in addition to that, one's mother tongue speaking two other languages have become a norm. Actually, in European countries, actually, the Denmark also comes under the European country. So there is a European policy, Commission policy. They are having the all the things. They are keeping all the things. So same thing. They are having a to boost the mobility and student exchange. They're having a network of European universities. Actually, all the European universities, they're having a good networks and automatic mutual recognition of diplomas. Actually, they're having a mutual diplomas, and they're having a European student card. Actually, where they want to do, they can be do anywhere in the Europeans. Not only in Denmark, they can go for Germany, they can go for France and whatever maybe. See, this is the things of the European Union universities. So the same thing, the higher education and its links with research and innovation play a crucial role in individual and societal development and providing a highly skilled human capital and engage the citizen that Europe needs, create jobs, economical growth, and prosperity. So this is the major criteria. This is things for the European education matter. The same thing, the higher education institutions are crucial partners in delivering the European Union's strategy to drive forward and maintain the sustainability growth. The European strategy of higher education has set a target for the young Europeans have a higher educational qualification in 2025. The same thing, the European Commission works closely with the policymakers to support the development of higher education policies in European Union countries in line with the education and training strategies. They are having 4 key roles of European higher education: tackling future skills mismatches and promoting excellence in skills development. Actually, everybody, they're going for the skill development programs. Actually, wait, don't be changed. Then again, the building of inclusive and connected higher education system. Actually, they're having a very good connective things of higher education, that is they're having good building of inclusives. Ensuring higher education institution contribute to innovative. Actually, they're having more innovative aspects. Newly, they want to change it all, innovations. And finally, supporting effective and efficient higher education system. And to achieve all the things, they're having these goals. The Commission proposed a specific action of European Union level. So now, now we are going for the one European country. I'm taking one Denmark, which is the higher in top level ranking. The Danish government has put forward initiative to improve the areas of early childhood education and care, compulsory education, youth education programs, vocational education, higher education, and adult education. So the government is always early childhood education is and care. It is a more perspective of the in European as well as in Denmark. The main reason for the initiative are to improve the quality of teaching and the programs, as well as to reduce the dropout rate. Actually, in other countries, in India, if you think about the dropout rates are higher than others. See, first you reduce the dropout rate, but we have to reduce the dropout rate in the school level itself. because when the school level dropout means that's all, they are not coming to the higher educations. So you have to keen interest, all the governments to keep keen interest regarding to reduce the dropout rate of the in youth education itself, and also increasing the number of apprenticeships in a high importance. As many initiatives have been put forward within this area. Actually, they have to go for higher apprenticeship, they have to go for the skilled work also, for they're having a chance of to getting the more jobs in futures. Finally, the section of the European perspective provides links to European strategies to which the education and training have a prominent role. The next. So overall educational strategy of key objectives. The government has put a great deal of focus of education, especially on school education, as a reform. How to make a good school better has been approved. From the beginning of the period, the government has emphasized that the quality of Danish public school has to be improved. This will, among other things, mean longer school days and more lessons in mathematics and Danish. Actually, in the childhood itself, they are giving take care about the mathematics. Actually, once those who are having good in mathematics, that means all the things they be developed. Actually, the older ages, they used to tell our teachers, once if you are good in mathematics, you can be always good in other subjects. So they are keen interest of the mathematics as well as their Danish language of the Denmark language. Also, the time spent on movement activity will be movement activity. That means physical activity and other things to increase of the vision is that pupils learn more and better if they are more active. Once they are having a good physical activity and they are having a educational also having a good more active, there are a lot of research also aligned with that. Within the area of vocational education, the new legislation has been passed in the Denmark, which among other things mean that the number of training places will be increased, the number of dropouts has to be decreased. Actually, the training has to be increased automatically, the dropouts also decrease, and the employability rate also has to be increased, should rise. With regards of higher education focus, they especially on encouraging the students to start higher education as soon as possible, to complete the students as quick as possible. Once the school students, actually they have to be a continuity process should be there. Immediately to the school education, they have to go for the higher education. There is in between, there is no break. If the break is there, their mind may change and they cannot go for the higher education. So also a new agreement to how to develop the talent culture in higher education has to be adopted. So how to identify the talents in the young age level itself. Next. So overview of the education reforms process of drivers. The educational policy making and reform process in Denmark is carried out in the Ministry of Education. Actually, they are having three things they are doing: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education and Science, and Ministry of Culture, with input of expertise, the different experts, education leaders, and actually they are having a different three ministry. They are working for the other higher education in the Denmark countries. Okay, next. Okay, research, previous. Okay, the net. See now these things. The network of research intensive universities. Now, okay, now we can go for the before that. Yeah, okay. Now we can go for the higher United States. Now I have completed this regarding the Australia as well as the European country with the Denmark. Now we have to go for the United States. The higher education in the United States is an optional stage of formal learning following the secondary education. The higher education is also referred as a post-secondary education or third stage, third level, or tertiary education. These may be public or private university, arts colleges, community colleges, or for-profit colleges. The US higher education is loosely regulated by several third-party organizations. Next. Research. See, now they're telling the network of research intensive universities rank the US first globally for overall higher education. Actually, the United States are giving high priority for the research. So that's why almost all the students, professors, researchers, they're flooding to the US. See, the strong research funding helped they're having a good research funding helped the elite American universities dominant global ranking in the early 21st century, making them attractive to the international students, professors, and researchers. Other countries also they're giving offering the incentives, but they cannot compare with the United States. The United States dominance of the international table in the research. Next, accreditation. The same, we are also having accreditation, NAC and everything. Same thing, they're having accreditation. The higher education has led to the creation of accreditation organization independent of the government to vouch for the quality of degrees. They rate institution on academic quality, because with the academic quality, the quality of the libraries, how they are having a books and everything, the publishing records of their faculty, how the faculty is having the published in the journals, international, the high impact journals and everything, and the degree which their faculty hold, and their financial solvency. Actually, their accreditation is, they are giving very clear cut policy for the United States. They are having a good accreditations, whether they are having a academic quality of the institution, quality of the libraries, how the qualities, and publishing records of their faculty members, and degree which their faculty have hold, and their financial. So the accreditation is giving according that individuals as well as the institution and the library things. The accrediting agencies have been criticized for possible conflicts of interest that lead to the favorable results. Non-accredited institution, the students are not eligible for the federal loans. Actually, those colleges or universities, they are not having accredited properly, and they are not having any studies loan, and everything is a problem with that. The next, the university system. The American university system is largely decentralized. The public universities are administered by the individual states and the territories, usually as a part of the state university system. Except for the United States Service Academics and Staff College, the federal government does not directly regulate universities. So this is a system of the university which have the authority of administrative. Next. Actually, they are having a lot of colleges, community colleges, for-profit colleges. These are, so the community colleges is often 2-year degree courses, and they have to be the lower tuition fees and everything. But more, they are giving the degrees as a associate of art, but only the 2-year degree. Actually, the 4-year degree, those who have completed the 2-year degree in the native place and with a low tuition fees, and they have to be joined, the next 2 years will be the higher, they have to complete with the other degree. So that is a very useful for them. Actually, it is during the 2010-11, 1.6 million students, they have been enrolled. Now it is dropped almost 1.6 million. That 80% of the community colleges survived were facing declining enrollments, because a lot of curriculum changes, a lot of that higher education policy changing, that community colleges slowly dignified and everything. So this also shows the lot of decreasing the students' admission in the community colleges. Next, funding of university colleges. Actually, how the funding of the universities, the government is funding to the university and everything. There's a lot of things. The federal contributions amounted to $40 billion. Only 100 institutions out of more than 4,000 received 80% of the sum. The sources of fund they are getting, including tuition, federal Title IV funds, state funds, and endowments. Actually, the government's fund depends upon that population of that particular state. Actually, that is a main agent. So, for example, the major source of funding of public institution of higher education is direct support from the state. The level of state support roughly correlated with the population of the state. For example, the California state had nearly population of 40 million, and the state is allocates the more than $15 billion in higher education. At the same extreme, Wyoming allocates $384 million for its 5,70,000 citizens. So according the basis of the population, the state government is allotting the fund for these universities. Next. The student cost and funding. The average estimated annual student cost funding, excluding books, were $16,757 at public institution, $43,065 at private non-profit institution, and $23,776 at private for-profit institution. So, in between the 2018 and 8 and 18, the prices of the public colleges and universities rose 34% above the inflation. So they will be increasing according the inflation and price index, and they're changing the fees and everything. And the same thing, the students receive scholarship, students loan on grants to offset cost out of pockets. Several states offer scholarship that allow the students to attend the fee free of tuition or a lower cost of the fees. Financial assistance comes in two major forms: grant programs and loan programs. The grant programs consist of money that students receive to pay for higher education that does not need to pay back. But loan program consists of the money the students receive to pay for the fees. It must be paid back. Actually, two things they're having. One is grant program and it is a loan program. The public higher education institution, which funded through the state government, and private higher education institution, which are funded exclusively through the tuition and private donation, offer grant and loan financial assistance program. The loans can be obtained publicly through the government sponsored loan programs or privately through the independent lending institutions. Actually, they are giving the high profile funding for the study and everything. The students are very much interested to go for the higher educations. Next. Okay, now we have to go for we are comparing now higher education in India. The number of institutions and enrollment of higher, actually now a lot of changes happening in our higher education programs. Actually, that UGC has now changed as now recently, that higher education commission of India. So now the lot of changes in the reforms, higher education reforms, as they comparing with the other countries. The number of institution and enrollment in higher education continue the rapid growth. Actually, in India, there are rapid growth, but the quality of the education remains uncertain. That is the main aspects of things compared to other foreign countries. What is the India in educational quality? A small number of states subsidize institutions attract the thin top layer of talent from each year's cohort. High selectivity of admissions to these elite institutions provides a screen value of potential employers. Domestic and foreign demands for the services of these few thousand students has created the inflated reputation of the overall quality of India's higher education. The number of such graduates remains small relative to the population and the demands of India's economy for educated manpower. Reliable estimates of value added of higher education beyond the screening value of admission to elite institution are needed to assess the colleges and universities and guide educational policy. Next. The graduate education, the seed form of the higher education and scholarship, continues in an alarming state of disarray with respect to both quality and quantity. Pressed by budgetary constraints, the government appears to have decided on profit-oriented privatization of higher education as the solution. There is a little theoretical empirical evidence that supports the prospects of success of a for-profit model in building quality higher education. The recent proposal whole promise of radical reform and renovation, including regulatory restructuring it remains unclear whether the government has the wisdom to determination, financing, and power to push reforms fast the resistance from entrenched faculty that form the political and business classes. Next. See, now the India is mainly for the building of world-class universities in India. That is the main tracing Indian Institute of Technology is a path to success. Actually, now we have the Indian Institute of Technology. It is a path to success. With the global shifts towards the knowledge-based economy, the universities are required to produce knowledge and cutting-edge technologies to support their respective countries' economy. In response, many countries around the world seek to build their own world-class universities. Next. The world-class universities demonstrate world-class thinking and policy development in the sense that they employ state-of-art solution to pressing challenge of the 21st century. However, the world-class universities are found only in a few wealthy Western countries. For instance, if one takes a quick glance at global university ranking, nearly every top university is situated in a high-income country. There are exceptions such as the Indian Institute of Technology, which are known to produce the world's most creative engineers. The global university rankings of IITs steadily rose over past few years, drawing much attention from the industry for its unprecedented success. The research aim to trace the successful path of IITs to identify its success factors, which may serve as reference points of other developing systems that aim to build world-class universities of their own. The study takes the two most prominent IIT, namely IIT Delhi and IIT Mumbai, are the showing the more things. Next. Hypothesis and investigators that considerable amount of international cooperation activities engaged in at the establishments have played a significant role in its success. Actually, we have to give a international corporate activities. That is the main aspects for the enhance the higher success. The study showed that the financial resources were complemented by a high concentrated pool of talented and motivated students, as well as the professors who have abundant experience in top tier research and technical firms. The another major factor was the government's dedication. The government focused on creating a favorable environment for the institution and also prioritized IITs in its allocation of financial resources. Now, the next. See, this is the major just point of the conclusion. If has to be all the things to be for higher education reforms, developing globally compatible institutional infrastructure for Indian higher education. Actually, we need a very good globally compatible. Actually, we have to compare the other institutional, how the infrastructure and other facilities, everything should be there in this. And we have to make a lot of student exchange programs. Then we have to study it to other countries and other country people. Then only our promotion of higher education will be enhanced. MOU, that means Memorandum of Understanding with collaborative programs with other countries. Transforming research universities in Asia and Latin Americas. Actually, now we need more research universities we need. But nowadays they are going for the teaching aspects. Nowadays, all the foreign countries, they are going for the online and everything. They never used to come for the classes and they are learning in the libraries itself, all the other students in foreign countries. But still in India, we are teaching all the school, that means the classrooms teaching and everything. But still they are having a lack of a library and everything. We have to enhance all the research activities in the universities. And higher education in India, massification and changes should be there. And road to academic excellence, that is a main aspect. We have a road to some map should be there. Road map to the academic excellence, the making of world-class research universities. Teachers' perspective on higher education policies. An internationalization model, that means responding to new realities and challenges. And finally, India poised to become the educational hub. It should be equivalent to other countries. We should be, if you have been within all the things, and we also with the top 10 rankings in the world. I have completing my sessions with thank you for all the other dignitaries of the Mumbai universities, and thank you very much for your giving time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Subramaniam. It was a wonderful, very enlightening, and very in-depth knowledge that you have shared with us. And I can see the level of your personal research on this particular topic by seeing the different aspect you covered during this lecture. So we have a few questions
Okay.
from the participants. Let me take a few of them. There are many questions. There are so many queries, but few of them let me take. Professor Raj Kumar has asked a question that can we make accreditation of colleges more efficient, putting more weightage to physical education? Means he's asking, accreditation should be provided if more emphasis is given in physical education. So can this be a base of accreditation?
Yeah. Actually, now previously I have an experience of 12 years in the first ever in Tamil Nadu Physical Sports University. We are also having the physical education, sports coaching, exercise physiology, biomechanics, all other sports sciences also we started all the works. This is the first ever in university in India. We are also applied for the accreditation. Actually, the team of people coming from almost all other states in India, they came over there. That is, I am also working there. See, they are seeing almost all the paperwork only they are seeing actually. But physical education, what are the facilities they are having in the labs? How much the performance is orientation is going on? How much play fields are there? How much the faculties? How much that educational qualification? How much they are doing the research productions? How much the paper presented? These are the main criteria. Actually, if it is they're going for the educational wise, what do you mean, institution or universities, they can see the papers work and everything. But when they're coming to our sports university or physical education colleges and everything, they have to see more on the facilities available in universities. That is the main criteria for that. They have to change according the institution, but they are keeping the same level of criteria for each and everything. For example, when they are the same, when they are going for the same other universities for the normal university, the same criteria they are looking of that. But when they are coming to the physical education or sports university, they have to go for this different criteria to look after the accreditations. That is a very important for that. But still, we are getting all the things. We got it the first thing B++. Now we are approaching for the, but we are changing according to what are the criteria they required. We are also preparing according that, and we are also going to approve for the re-accreditation for the A grade or A+. So this is the thing. But the government has to take some initiative. It is a specific university. For example, they are going for the physical education sports. They have a separate accreditation should be there. Separate norms to be fixed for the each and every things. But those who are coming for the people as a visiting faculty, and they are seeing the same criteria what they are seeing for the other universities. That is, we have to change something. Then only, but now we are having a very good. Our university is having very good. And about 3 academics, we are having more about 50 crores. I mean, badminton academy, shuttle academy, TT academy, as well as the indoor stadium, and we have a biomechanics 13.3 crores, and we have a canoeing, kayaking, cycling, all that means synthetic track field, everything we have facilities, and even our faculties also having a very good knowledgeable. we have a different faculties, management, technology, sports coaching, exercise physiology, biomechanics, yoga. So they're having a well-versed faculties also there, but we are getting the accreditation B++, and still we are lack of to the getting the A grade. That is the thing. According my suggestions, it should be vary, yeah, each and every institution that accreditation score should be vary. That's why my suggestions.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. I hope the question is answered. There is another question asked by Mr. S. Srinath. He's saying your lecture was very interesting and interactive.
Okay.
And I want to know the importance of sports research in higher education. If you can be bit quick, sir. We are short.
Yeah, see, it is a very, very essential. Nowadays, in other foreign countries, I'm not criticizing in India. See, when we are going for high performance, we need more research, more high performance center in each every state and even that union government also. See, when I was in 2010 Commonwealth Games, if suppose the Australian teams are coming with each team, they're having a 10 people, those who are additional accompanied with the teams. One is physiologist, one is doctor, one is psychologist and everything. But still, we are lack of all the things. But we are doing all the things. But we need a professional psychologist, professional physiologist, everything we need for the things. And moreover, we need the research. What is the basic research means? Target based research we need. Suppose, for example, the biomechanics. One top athlete is running 11 seconds or 11.2 seconds in 100 meters. If you are giving the small tips in biomechanical aspects, or some tips for the training aspects, or some tips for the psychological aspects, and he will win the medal. So already a lot of that research is coming. 10% only that training and other things. The other 90% will be the sports science will be there. Nowadays, the sports science is giving the high importance for the high level performance. Previously, let it be. Now all other countries are coming up. We are not in reach to the other countries because of the sports science. Without sports science, we cannot achieve the high level performance. So we need the sports science based research is required for the high level performance. So that's why all the universities, all the Department of Physical Education or Department of Sports or whatever we in our country, that I request all the that means guide and the supervisor, they have to select such a topic or such a things which is very essential for our need of the hour for the Indian nation of the sports. A lot of people they are doing that means comparative studies, and they are doing the some other studies. We have to go for more of the that means research oriented effective study, and we have to go for the case study. And these are the things which is very, very essential for the sports science. So, for example, we have to go for the studies regarding the sand running. Sand running, that means offshore, and the onshore running. When you are going, the water is lagging, it's coming in the onshore. The water is, when you are running, what are the things will be improved? Whether the speed is improving, or the endurance is improving, or explosive nature is improving. When they are running in the sand, what are the things? So these type, for example, only I'm talking, these type of things, when they are going for the research, automatically our India will be achieving in 2024 and 2028 Olympics the highest medal and highest participation will be there in India. This is my valuable suggestions.
Yeah, thank you, sir. With this, let me take the last question. It is asked by Dr. Anil. He asked that it is not good to stop funding to those colleges who are not taking physical education as a compulsory subject.
No, they are not. They are not. Where they are stopping the funding? Funding. Yeah. See, the UGC already. That means they are giving the funding everything. And the state government also, they're giving the funding to the state universities. There is nowhere any stopping anywhere, but only the things that particular university department, that means the facility department, they have to approach the concerned university vice chancellor, and they have to give good proposal, and they are getting the lot of funding. And even the faculty also applying to the university UGC if you're having 12B status, and they can get more that means proposal, that means grant from the university grant option. There's a lot of, if you are giving good proposal, the university grant commission is giving higher, they're flooded like anything, they're giving a lot of funding. So as per things, we are, so for example, in our university, biomechanic experts, we are giving the TANI program. That means Tamil Nadu Innovative Initiative. They're having it is a government organization. We applied to the TANI and we got in the 13.5 crores from the biomechanical aspect. Same thing, even we are e-library, e-source, that our librarian from our university is applied in TANI, and he also got it 3.5 crores. So the lot of funding will be there, but only the things, the concerned faculty tap the funding and collect the money and improve the standard of their university. That is my things.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Subramaniam. It was very well taken. All the questions were well taken by you, and we are blessed to have you on our this platform. And,
thank you, Ji.
With this, let me conclude this session. You have talked about international approach towards higher education, international perspective. You started from the very basic, that you started from definition of reforms, and then importance of higher education, and then you talked about Australian approach, Denmark approach, US and Indian conditions. In Australian approach, you talked about sustainability, transparency, accountability, and you also talk about higher education loan program. More choices should be provided to students, quality assurance and skill development. Then you talk in Denmark, you talked about early childhood education, youth education, compulsory education, vocational education. Then you also showed your concern about dropout rates in Denmark. Then you talked about in USA, the high priority is given to research, and they give accreditation to only the students can be studied, can study in the university and colleges. Those are having accreditations. Then you talked about allocation of funds based on the population. That is very important, means whatever the population rate, the fund should be generated accordingly. That's a wonderful approach. And then they have also good funding to the students, means students loan facilities also there. And then you talked about the new education policy you have in India and this. So in nutshell, we can say that if we compile all the approaches you talked about, the more focus on for any education system or higher education system should be on that. First is the students should have more choices in reference to selection of their courses. Then they should have vocational education so that they can get their earning. Then skill development as our Indian government is also focusing on skill development. Then quality assurance, means quality education should be more focused. And then research, and more important is dropouts. There should be 100% students should complete their higher education. That should be the focus. So with this, I on behalf of the organizing committee and my co-chairperson, Dr. Jackson, would like to thank you, Dr. Subramaniam, for giving your most valuable time and sharing your valuable experiences and knowledge to all the participants. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on some other session also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zanjaria and Jackson for the chairperson, co-chairperson, and also thanks the Mumbai University Authority for giving me the opportunity for this international webinar platform. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Now over to Dr. Madhuri, please.
Thank you so much, sir. It is really a very fruitful and very fact-based intellectual presentation. I know how much pain you you have been taken for this presentation, because it's not a cup of tea to present the whole sum of comparative status of the higher educational reform in different countries. So it was very wonderful to listen, sir. The presentation was based on the facts, what is going on in the recent scenario. And here we can understand where we are moving and what exactly happening at an international platform. So thank you so much, sir, for your valuable, very informative and very directive speech for the third session, sir. Thank you so much. And I'm
Thank you. Thank
very
you.
glad to see you here on this
Thank you. Thank you,
platform,
ma.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank
ma.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.
I'm also thankful to Dr. Janjaria, because he's also very much busy to deliver a speech and deliver a lectures in different webinars. Out of that, he spared his time to be a chair person for this session. And Dr. Johnson, who is also on short notice, he accepted my request and be a part of the FDP. Thank you so much for your sparing the time, sir.
1
Thank
hour.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The guidance, direction, and the contributed facts will be useful for all the participants while dealing with the online educational process during this pandemic challenges. Educational reform is not a simple concept. Educational reform is not a small concept to deliver within the 40 minutes of time, but here I can see the what level of pain the speakers are taken. They gather, they synchronize the data in a right way, and then they presented chronological form so that everybody can link to what exactly happening. They also presented, they also share the status what happening at international platform. So here we can get a few ideas how we can proceed during this pandemic situation, how we can conduct online sessions. More to come in the next 4 days, because we have different sections of different section of sub themes, and we are going to listen more resource persons from next 4 days. It will be more enlightening and fruitful. uh, Behalf of the Department of Physical Education, I really thanks to all the resource person, because their time, they're valuable and very important time they share for this FDP. Thank you so much from bottom of my heart. I really thanks to all the resource person, because over to Dr. Mane. Sir, please share your words.
Yeah, ma'am. I should be thankful to our participants for actually we all the participants. We started our session 1:30 and now it is 5:30, almost 5 hours. Our participants with us. We should be thankful our speakers, chairpersons for their valuable thoughts, their valuable time they spare with us. So not only for this faculty development program, in future also we need their help, their suggestions for development of this department. This department is one small part of Mumbai University. So we need all the participants, chairperson, co-chairpersons, speakers help for progress of these departments. All those are related this faculty development program. Once again, on behalf of Department Physical Education, University of Mumbai, I am thankful to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Uh, yeah, I would like to note that tomorrow we are meeting by 2 o'clock, because session will start from 2 o'clock. So try to be on YouTube. Those are participants over here. So we are going to start the session by 2 o'clock sharp tomorrow, because today, because of the inaugural function, we was little bit delayed. Tomorrow's session will be more on the online curriculum system, educational pedagogy, and API criteria. So these are the very approaching and very applicable criteria or applicable topics which we need to listen, and we need to understand the inputs. According to that, we can modify the way we teach and the way we deal with in education, right? So Thank you so much, one and all. I'm very glad to hear all of you, especially to all my chairperson and co-chairperson, because on very short notice they accepted my request, our request, and they gave their acceptance, and they are here. And when they are here, they are just they are contributing from their side also. That is a wonderful part. So I found today's presentation and today's entire interaction was really very worth. It is really worth. It stands for what the theme made. So it is actually the educational reform was discussed for the higher education. Thank you so much for one and all. And I'm taking off for the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Madhuri.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mane sir and Madhuri ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
sir.
Dr.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Mane. Thank you, the whole organizing team. Thank you very much.
We should be thankful, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
It's pleasure.
In future also, for future, you welcome both of you.
Thank you, sir.
Other
Thank you.
speakers also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you.